passe super, l'artiste, super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De er i semifinale igjen!
Hello everyone, time for another part of the Uninformed Handball Hours 200 episode live show celebration. Chris here with a little intro for you before we get this part started. And in this section, we spoke all about trying to create the all-time all-star team in men's handball. Quite a challenge. A lot of fun going through the positions and the names as well. A lot of disagreements, as you can imagine, but we somehow got there in the end. And we did mention in the previous episode that Eduarda Amorim wasn't able to join us for the live show for a very good reason. And now we're able to reveal that reason. And it's very good news that she gave birth to little Idalina. And it was a little bit earlier than expected, the birth. And on the day of recording the live show, Eduarda wrote to me saying, I'm going to the hospital now, so I can't join this time, but I promise to come again. So a very good excuse and very good news as well. So delighted for Duda and the entire family. So with that bit of good news, it's time to go to the second part of our live show. Here it is.
Well, let's see how this goes. We're gonna try and compile together also with you as the audience. So do put in your suggestions as we go through the positions in the chat. It'd be nice to get as many perspectives on this as possible because we're also almost certainly going to miss some players, but we're going to try and agree on an all-time all-star team for the men. And now, Courtney, sorry for throwing you under the bus here. You had the women's prepared, but Eduarda not being able to join us. Do you want to run through your women's team for us before we go?
Oh, okay. Goalkeeper Lund. I actually don't have a left wing. Left back Niagu. Centre back is my one that I haven't seen play, but I went for Seong Ok Oh. Right back Merck or Gross. I was going to elaborate on these. Right wing Martin or Radicevic, and line player Luque. Of course, as you mentioned, since we're all so young, these are all people that I've mainly seen in the years I've been working in handball. So it's hard for me to go back further than that. I'm sure I'm overlooking some people, but...
So bonus points in this chat for anyone who comes up with someone who played before 1995, I think is a good one. Otherwise, it's going to be our generation. I think...
it was before 95.
Oh, I mean, for the men's, yeah. So bonus points for you anyway, Courtney. You're the only one who contributed to the women's, so you win. But we'll have to do the women's on another time when we do have other female guests to join and give their perspective. We're going to focus on the men now, and I think we'll start where all good teams should start, the right wing. No, we're going to start in goal. We're going to start with the goalkeeper. Who wants to go first? Alex Gulesh.
I think Rasmus wants to go first. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I can go with. It's always difficult when you haven't watched some players play. I heard a lot of good stuff about Wieland Schmidt, a German goalkeeper who played for several years ago. But I will take one I have watched a lot. I think Thierry Omeyer was just an amazing goalkeeper, and I think that maybe he is the best all time in crunch time as a goalkeeper, because every time France needed some saves from him, he was just standing there and was so intimidating for the shooters. So for me, he's the best goalkeeper I have ever watched.
Yahia, which goalkeepers jump to your mind when you think of the best of all time?
Well, there's a couple actually, but yeah, Omeyer is one of them. Sterbeck is one of them, and Landin is also one of them. although he's like still playing, but he's definitely on the list. But I don't know. I think I'd go with Sterbik because he had some games when in finals and crunch time when he was just closing, like it's you can do nothing. It's done. So he was, and he's also, I played with him actually in his last year, and he's really natural. He's not this really training type, and also speaking a lot. He's just there saving because he knows how to, and that's it. So I think because of the talent he has, I choose him.
Can you give us an insight from that season you played with him? Like what? Because I guess you trained against him so many times as well, and then being side by side with him in the big games. What exactly makes him so special as a goalkeeper during matches? What about it makes him so difficult to get by?
I think that sometimes he has some gift that he's not waiting for you to like shoot wherever you want and then saving it. Is more like making you shoot in some point or some direction, because he stands in a way sometimes that you think that this place that you want to choose to shoot in is free, but he's there, he's smart in this, and you don't feel it, you just think that, okay, I chose the right decision, and then no, it was my decision. It was his. So I think, yeah, this is one thing I thought about his style of play.
Do you reckon Landine is the hardest active goalkeeper to go up against, or you've come up against, or is there anyone else who actively is playing at the moment that is a bit of a headache?
I think, yeah, he's for sure there, but actually now there's a lot of goalkeepers who are really good. Like, it's one of these positions that is a lot of guys who are really good and talented and always saving. But for me, yeah, he's the toughest. I think. He's there.
So for context, there's been 5 goalkeepers that have won the IHF World Player of the Year. We've mentioned most of them. So Thierry Omeyer in 2008. There was Arpad Sterbik in 2005. Slavomir Šmal won it in 2009. A bit of a wild card, but he's a fantastic goalkeeper. And Niklas Landin has actually won it twice. So 2019 and 2021. And the last one is Henning Fritz in 2004. But I think it seems like, for me, the big toss-up is between Arpad Sterbik and Omeyer. Landin, it's hard to put him into this discussion yet because he's not finished. He has time to go and he may be there. But those 2 players really stand out for me. Courtney, is there anyone else, or is it those 2 for you?
Actually, I think if I had to pick like one player who has been, for me, just like the MVP of my whole time covering handball, I would have said Landin. So I have to put him there, I think. But yeah, definitely the others are very good points. Like, it's very hard to pick one. I very vividly remember Sterbik joining Spain for the final weekend of the Euro in 2018, and just the other, who was in the final, can't even remember who they played in the final. Sweden, was it? Anyway, the other team just couldn't shoot their penalties against him. It was completely a mental block, it seemed, against him. So yeah.
That was one of the most iconic kind of moments in handball for me, because he came out of retirement. Like, when you saw him walking around before the game, he has this like limp, and it looks like he can barely walk. And then the leg goes above the crossbar, and he's absolutely shutting down the other team in the final. And that is just iconic, really.
But even after he made a save, he was hobbling to get the ball. But each save was like totally fine action, and then...
And then extra effort just to get the ball, yeah.
think I remember, Rasmus, you were tweeting at the time back in 2018. He was your suggestion for MVP for the whole championship, having just arrived for the semi-finals onwards. The name that I had in like straight away was Thierry Omar. That's the kind of the instant one that came to my mind. But it is a very good trio. Any other names up for serious consideration in your minds, audience?
I think.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Rasmus as well.
I think there's a lot of Swedish good goalkeepers from back in the days, Svensson, Mats Olsson, and everything like that, and also from Russia, Soviet Union, Lavrov was also an amazing goalkeeper. So there's a lot of good goalkeepers, of course, but we can remember the guys like Sterbik and Omaye and Landin better.
Yeah, funny. Good point. Patrick from Patrick. Yeah, I'm making the same point. But like when we talk about the best goalkeeper at the moment in the world, it's always almost between Paris de Vargas and Landin. But then when we talk about the best of all time, no one's even mentioned Paris de Vargas. And why is that?
Payne he does share with Corrales, and they're a great duo. So I think maybe that's one element is like, if you're the absolute standout goalkeeper in your national team, you're going to be more positioned in our minds as like that number one. But Perez de Vargas, of course, I mean, amazing. But he does share with Corrales, also fantastic.
For me, it's also like he needs to win a little bit more. He hasn't won the Olympics. He hasn't won the World Championship. Of course, he has won a lot of stuff in the club and also in the Euros. But for me, it's also if you want to be the best ever, you need to win the greatest major tournaments for national teams. That's just my opinion.
On that national team side of things, maybe something for Omea is that without him, France wouldn't have been the same. Like there was no one really there to cover for him, and that's almost been a big topic for France ever since he stopped playing for them. Is Vincent Girard, whether he can ever be as good, even though he keeps saving them over and over again at big events. But for Landin, we know there's like 17 other Danish goalkeepers who could have done a good enough job to win the championships when they won. And Sterbik, probably you could say the same for the variety of nations he's represented. Is that something to lean towards Omea there? Or how are we gonna decide this now? That's something we didn't agree on before. How we're actually going to come up with the one name here.
I think we'll have to vote. We got to do it, and we have our 6 votes of the hosts, but then we'll have to be, if there's any ties, that will have to be decided by the audience.
Okay.
And just a last point on the 3 players in terms of their accolades. For Sterbik, it's important to remember that he dominated Liga Asobal for many years when that was the biggest league in the world. He's won 4 Champions Leagues. On the national team side, he's still got a World Championship and a European Championship, no Olympic medals. Almeye's just done everything. He's won everything. Only 1 Champions League though. That was with that Montpellier team in 2003. And Landin has kind of done both sides quite well. So yeah, again, very, very difficult to compare the eras, but I can go and vote first. And I'm just going to give it to Sterbik. It speaks to me more.
I'd say, yeah, you're also Sterbik, Jim.
Yeah, me too.
Alex, you said Omea only won 1 Champions League. You won 3 more with Kiel.
With Kiel, I think.
Yeah. Alex.
Alex.
Come on, you're
Not at all.
supposed to be the stats guy here. Yeah.
I did say he did it all. He dominated the Bundesliga. He dominated every championship. He dominated.
It's really tough.
So, you're sticking with Arpad. Yeah. Alex, you're still sticking with Arpad. Ron Rasmus.
Omea.
Chris?
Omea.
Courtney?
I'll join the Omea train.
Oh, yeah.
4-2
as well. There we are.
All right. Democracy wins for now. There's still many positions to go. Left wing? Who wants to go first? Let's go with Rasmus again.
Yeah. Okay. For me, that was actually pretty easy. Although I didn't watch this guy play that much, I've watched a lot of him on YouTube, and the fact that he invented the spin shot was made it for me. Alexander Kasakevich from Soviet Union played in Skaminsk, won everything with them, and also won the Olympics in Seoul in '88. So for me, pretty easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Actually, I cannot go too much with some people that I didn't see. I think I'm gonna go with not a guy who like won everything, or just about how I liked watching him, and I think everyone does, was Gansheimer. Because just what he did is you just wanted to watch him more and more, and this is a trophy, on its own.
I feel like he revolutionized the way you shoot from the wing in a lot of ways. I think everyone's been in handball training trying to do his shot and always breaking the wrist.
Yeah, in the same way, the player that Rasmus mentioned, what was his name again? Kasakevich. Invented the spin shot, but I think Gensheimer took the spin shot to another level and invented all the variations of the spin shot. So it's a good one. Just a little point on, there's been only one player who has won the IHF World Player of the Year from left wing. Can anyone guess that player?
Guyosa.
Rafael Gilza won it in '99 for Spain.
Go on, sorry. I was just saying, we're not going to give good and bad tickets. Send a shout out here. No, breaking all the records, playing until he was like 57 or something like that. Never gave up. The ultimate professional.
He's also a great player. I think he has a lot of good left wings. Also, Laskas Jet, scored a lot of goals in the Bundesliga. Didn't have that good of a national team career, but of course also won with Denmark. So there's a lot of good left wings, I think.
What are you going to say, Alex? You were going to mention a name there, yeah?
It has to be Stigerson for me. There's elements of how you can judge a player, and longevity has to be one. And what he did over his career, the goal tallies he was able to achieve, and the spread of teams he played with, eventually winning that Champions League with Barcelona is actually, that has to be celebrated. He had a goal and he achieved it on top of all of his accomplishment throughout the career. He's just a wonderful, wonderful player. And, in many ways, kind of the opposite of Uwe Gensheimer, a player who was, he had his shots and he got them. He had his play. He was very consistent, and you gotta love it. And I don't know, when we spoke to him, I think you guys spoke to him, Brian and Chris, I think we made that kind of special connection to him when he spoke on the podcast, gave his story and how his career. So I don't know. I have a special connection with Sigurdsson from that, and so I put him there.
Yeah, a very humble guy as well. Like the way he was speaking to us, and also was an Olympic medal, the silver medal from 2008. So that's not to be sniffed at. I mean, that was a huge achievement for Iceland as a country as well. So not everyone can be Denmark and win loads of Olympic medals. But so we have to give him a shout. I think we've lost Chris for the moment. I think Chris has just gone all black. Courtney,
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. I just can't see you for some reason.
That must be on my camera.
Yeah, I would agree with Sigurdsson, actually. I hadn't thought about him in the 2 minutes I jotted down some names. But one thing I really like about him, actually, I'm not that much of a fan of spin shots, and I think Sigurdsson is more of a bang and get it in the goal kind of guy, and so very reliable, and I would agree with him as a perfect choice.
So what's the most good you're just going to go, no, not impressed.
Yep. No, I did actually go Liberov, honestly, because I enjoy his shooting a lot. But
yeah, and he spins.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what I'm conceding.
That's still fun.
1,879 international goals for Sigurdsson in 365 games, and he played for 9 different clubs.
Doesn't he have the record for most international goals scored in handball?
Exactly. In men's handball, huh?
Or both?
I think it's both. Or is a Regal who...
No, I think so. Yeah, by Niago, yeah.
That's just the Euro, though. That's just the Euro.
Yeah. Because they wrote each other letters somehow. And the letters ended up online. Chris, settle it a bit now. Are we going for Sigurdsson, or do you have another span that's on the works here?
No, I mean, Sigurdsson was the one that came up for me. I mean, I want to give Kazakiewicz a look in here. Rasmus, convince me.
Yeah, but what can I say more than he invented the shot? He was very, very good at the time. He played like on another level. He played like a left wing who played in this time. So that's, for me, very, very impressive that he changed the handball, the way you play handball. When the guys saw him make this shot, everyone just couldn't believe it. So, but of course, I like Sigurdsson a lot. That's not a problem for me that he would get it.
Yeah. So hands up for Sigurdsson. Hands up for Gensheimer. If he just won something, anything except the German Cup, that would be.
He was there for the Euro, wasn't
No.
He won the All-Star game shot.
Yeah.
That's determined.
That is the sad thing. Yeah, he wasn't there for the Euro, right? I mean, there was nobody there for Germany in the Euro. That was the most incredible thing about it. It was with their, with the B team. All right, then Sigurdsson takes it for now. Left back. This should be fun.
Chris, you start.
This is also going to get into a whole thing of when it goes to left back and centre back is who was more. Maybe we just have two players who play left and centre back. I'm looking at him as a left back.
And you may have noticed, if you are not a Patreon subscriber and listening on a normal podcast app, that this is the end of the journey for you. We're going to put this second half behind the subscriber wall and make it available for all of you who are subscribers to us on Patreon. And I tell you what, it's worth subscribing for this second half alone. A lot of interesting discussions to come and some of the most contentious positions. So head on over to patreon.com/handball hour to catch the rest of this episode. And we'll be back shortly for all of you with the third part of the live show, which will be available in full for all of you. But until then, take care and goodbye.